Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and while winter's on the wing, spring is just around the corner, but let me tell you something, soups ain't going away just yet. I wanted to make a soup that I should have made, frankly, a long time ago, but I've been waiting for the right moment to do it, and since Carole King just popped into my head, I love that show that she did, that kid show, Really Rosie. She has a wonderful song in there that's also kind of a standard called Chicken Soup with Rice, and I said to myself, Jeffrey, it is time to get a little wild with your rice, and to be, you know, a little Carole Kingy in the kitchen, and to make some of the greatest chicken soup with wild rice, or more shortly, chicken with wild rice soup that we'll ever have. I'm telling you right now, this soup is to die for delicious. It is ridiculously easy to make. It is comfort right in a bowl, and I am fairly certain this is gonna enter your rotation permanently. So break out the vinyl and pop on some Carole King, because we're going right to the Instant Pot, and we're gonna mix it once, mix it twice, and we're gonna make some chicken soup and wild rice. Let's go. Alright, so let's begin with our prep work and get that all out of the way. I want to start with a large Spanish or yellow onion and dice it up. 2 medium-sized carrots, peeled and diced. And then from a stalk of celery, let's take 3 ribs so that it looks just like this, nice and diced. So now let's go to our Instant Pot and add in 6 tablespoons or 3/4 of a stick of salted butter. So let's come down to the control panel and hit the saute button and adjust so we're on the more or the high setting. And once our butter is all melted and bubbling, let's add in our carrots, onions, and celery. And that is actually called a mirepoix. It's a French word containing those 3 veggies. But now it's no longer going to become that, because I'm now going to be also adding in between 8 to 16 ounces of baby Bella mushrooms that are sliced. This is 16 ounces. I love mushrooms in this soup. If you hate mushrooms, you don't have to add them. But if you're also not adding them, only use 4 tablespoons or a half a stick of butter instead of 3/4 of a stick. And now we're going to saute all the veggies in the pot and give it a stir so they're nice and coated with the butter. And we're going to let this saute for about 7 minutes until they begin to cook down and the mushrooms begin to brown a bit and release some amazing delicious juices of their own. And really, the most time intensive part of this recipe is just letting these veggies saute for about 7 minutes in the pot. It's that simple. And after about 7 minutes of sauteing all our veggies, you'll see they'll have cooked down significantly, especially the mushrooms, releasing wonderful, wonderful additional flavor and juices into the pot. So now let's add in 1 tablespoon or 3 cloves of crushed or minced garlic and saute that around in the pot for another minute. And then, and this is optional but highly recommended, add in 1/4 cup of sherry wine or cooking sherry, whatever you have on hand. I know people will say don't use cooking sherry, use regular sherry, but cooking sherry is completely fine and it's a great flavor booster here. 1/4 cup. But if you don't want to use it, just simply leave it out. Alright, and after a minute of our veggies simmering in the wine, I am going to add in 6 cups of chicken broth. And now let's spice it up with 1 tablespoon of seasoned salt. That's in the middle, and it's just covered by all the spices, so it looks like less, but it's 1 tablespoon. And then I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of dried thyme, 1 teaspoon of dried or rubbed sage, 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary, a teaspoon of dried dill. If you can get that, that's great. It's optional, but I think it's a great add. And 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Let's add that to the pot. And now, guys, it's all about our rice. I want to add in wild rice to this, and this almost looks like lead inside of a pencil. It's relatively long and it's very dark, black even, and it's the most fantastic rice for this soup, guys. It has a wonderful nutty flavor. It's a pricier rice, but it's super premium and fantastic. I'm going to add 1.5 cups of that to the pot, and I'm going to give everything a stir here. Alternatively, if you can't find wild rice, or if you want to use a cheaper rice, you can use like a royal blend rice that has a mix of things, like this Rice Select that has white, brown, wild, and red. But honestly, you really want to go for the typical black wild rice if you can get it. It makes a huge difference in my opinion. And lastly, we're going to add in our chicken. I'm using 3 pounds of chicken, and I've just divided the ratio up between breasts and thighs, all boneless and skinless. I recommend using that if possible, but you can just use breasts or you can just use thighs if you wish. This gives it a nice array though. But if you want to use between even 1.5 to 2 pounds of chicken, you can do that as well. Just know that if you use up to 3 pounds, it'll be more like a stew, and if you use less chicken, it'll be more soupy. Totally your choice though. Again, boneless and skinless is key. And let's just add that in there. Alright. And of course, wash your hands after handling raw chicken. Guys, we are ready to pressure cook. Let's put that lid on. There we go. I'm securing it, and I'm making sure it's in the sealing position. Now we'll come back to the control panel. We'll hit the cancel button, or the keep warm / cancel button, depending on your model. Then hit the pressure cook or manual button, depending on your model. And we're gonna go, guys, for 35 minutes at high pressure. And that's it. And now that we're done, we're gonna finish with a quick release. And the pin just dropped, so let's take our lid off. And there's our soup. So far, of course, we're not completed yet. What I want to do now is I want to take some tongs and remove my chicken from the pot. Some of it's going to shred apart, guys. Like, look at this thigh. It basically already shreds apart, and that's fine. Just take some tongs and place it inside of a bowl for now, and just let it cool for a few moments. Some of the thighs, like I said, they're going to really just shred apart like butter as it is, and that's fine. And it's okay if some of the veggies get in there with it. We'll handle that in just a moment. Alright, now back to the soup for some finishing touches. But first, I need to make a quick little cream-based slurry. I want to go to a bowl and I want to add in 2 cups of heavy cream, or half and half, as well as a half a cup of all-purpose flour. And now I want to just whisk this up until it's nice and combined. You might want to use a little bit of a deeper bowl than I did because I'm being very, very careful to not spill the flour outside of the cream. Alright, and that is perfect, nice and combined. And now I want to stir my slurry into the soup. This is going to be what gives it its beautiful creamy color. Alright guys, and now I just have 2 more finishing touches that are both optional but strongly recommended. I want to now add in 1 tablespoon of a Cajun, Creole, or Louisiana seasoning. I like to use Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. As well as, you know me guys, 1 5.2 ounce package of Boursin spreadable herb cheese, or any kind, like an Alouette, anything like this. You can typically find this in the charcuterie or fancy cheese section of your market. This is the stuff you typically find on a cheese board at a party. It's basically an herbed cream cheese. Gives it great flavor, and I've just cut it up into cubes to help it evenly disperse. And now I'm just going to stir that into the soup until it becomes totally melded. The heat from the soup itself will make that happen within about 2 minutes or so. Alright, this is looking awesome. And now let's go back to our chicken. I'm going to take 2 forks and then just shred my chicken apart, and look at that, guys. So easily done. Just shreds like butter. Now, some people might be concerned that because we're pressure cooking the chicken for so long in the pot, we're talking like a 35-minute time there because the rice needs to be fully cooked, that the chicken might get overdone and dried out. But that's not at all the case. You know why? Because the chicken was totally submerged in broth the entire time, so it's going to be perfectly juicy and tender. If the chicken was just sitting like on the trivet with, like, let's say a cup of broth, then it might get more dried out. But because it was in the broth, it's going to be fantastic. Look at this. Awesome. We're now ready to just add this chicken right back into the pot. And let's add it right back in. And then give it all a final stir in there to make everything nice and combined and incorporated. A super creamy, chickeny, ricey soup, guys. Look at how delicious and lush and packed this is. And that wild rice, that color, absolutely beautiful. Sets it all off with the orange carrots, the black rice, the green celery, and of course that beautiful light colored soup itself. Alright guys, oh, look at this. Look at how beautiful. And look at the perfect consistency of the soup. It's not overly thick, but it's certainly not thin. It's wonderful. Oh, look at all that rice. All right, guys, let's serve it into some bowls. Ladle it in. Ooh, look at this. Beautiful. Just beautiful. All that chicken. And of course, you have the mushrooms in there, all that rice. And guys, this is ready to try out. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. Ah, my mouth is watering. Let's try it out. All right, here it is. Look at all this soup. Look at this beautiful soup. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous soup. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Well. OMG. This is unbelievable. What an outrageously superb, pun intended, divine soup this is. Guys, we're talking a comforting soup to the maximum entity. Look at all the tender chicken in there. Look at that. I mean, are you seeing this? Look at how tender that is and juicy. melted in my mouth. The rice, I love wild rice so much. It's a wonderful al dente rice. It's completely and totally cooked. It just has that wonderful, very slight little chew to it, almost like a barley. It's fantastic, and it goes so beautifully with the soup. The soup itself is so rich and so creamy. The mushrooms in there too, such a great touch. I highly recommend mushrooms in there if you can tolerate them. If you don't like them, simply leave them out like I said, but I mean guys, mushrooms in this soup, amazing. Put it this way, it's basically almost like a chicken pot pie, but as a soup with rice in it, like a really premium, wonderful, nutty, al dente rice. I feel like singing that Carole King song right now. Who doesn't love chicken soup with rice? And guys, this one takes it truly to the next level. If you enjoy these videos, check out pressureluckcooking.com because I have a ton of recipes there. You don't want to miss out on any of those. All free for you to enjoy. They all have videos as well. Check out facebook.com/pressureluckcooking and like that page. Anytime a new recipe comes out, it'll be there. Anytime there's tips on things or deals on items, definitely check that out. I also like to sprinkle in some humor because we need some of that in this world that we live in. And I have a cookbook coming out. Definitely get that for sure. Check it out online. Just simply search Pressure Luck anywhere books are sold and get that. You want it for sure. And of course, at Pressure Luck on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and YouTube. Subscribe to that as well. Thank you guys so much again. And as Carole King puts it, oh my once, oh my twice, oh my chicken soup with rice. Absolutely divine. Make this one, guys. This one's gonna be a keeper, I promise.